In recent years, a growing number of people have started to worry, will Taiwan be sold out? This anxiety spikes when politicians from certain parties frequently travel to China, engage with high-level CCP officials, and simultaneously push legislation in Taiwan that could expand China's infiltration and influence. As a result, other Taiwanese politicians and many opinion leaders have accused these individuals of selling out Taiwan, of betraying Taiwan's interests. This has even led to recall campaigns against them. However, the accused often retort that they are simply being red-baited, comparing these accusations to a new form of McCarthyism. Recently, a friend whose political views differ from mine brought up the relationship between Taiwan and China. We had a discussion. It even got a little heated, and he raised a few questions that I think are worth exploring with all of you. He asked me, doesn't Taiwan have freedom of speech? Can't people freely choose their political stance? Why is it that if someone supports unification or thinks China isn't that bad, they're automatically accused of selling out Taiwan? If people were really selling out Taiwan, why hasn't China taken over by now? Doesn't that prove no one is selling out? Where's your evidence? I believe these are critical questions that deserve a serious discussion. In this episode, we're going to clarify, does supporting unification equate to selling out Taiwan? Hello everyone, and welcome to Shape of Fate. In this community, we explore the major issues that impact our lives, as well as the urgent and real risks, threats, and crises we face. Today, we're going to talk about a term that constantly appears in Taiwanese public discourse, selling out Taiwan. What does it really mean? What actions constitute the act of selling out Taiwan? Has it already happened? If not, on what grounds can we question anyone's loyalty? And if it is happening, how can we identify who is doing it?
Let's get straight to the point. What is selling out Taiwan? And why is it an act we should despise? It is absolutely not just about someone having a different political opinion than us. The politicians accused of selling out Taiwan are not labeled as such because they oppose Taiwanese independence, or because they oppose maintaining the status quo, or even because they identify with China. They are labeled this way because they seek to force unification on Taiwan against the will of the Taiwanese people. They attempt to use undemocratic means and introduce coercive force to create a situation where Taiwanese people have no real choice, aggressively pushing Taiwan towards annexation. The act is one of selling out precisely because in their plans, Taiwan is to be betrayed, not persuaded into making a choice. Those who would sell out Taiwan disrespect the Taiwanese people's right to decide on unification. They actively work to dismantle and suppress this right. In their vision, the people of Taiwan shouldn't have and won't get the space to choose. They are only meant to accept the unification process set by the CCP. And if the people are unwilling, these actors will cooperate with the CCP's military might to ensure compliance.
In my view, there are only two scenarios that constitute a genuine act of selling out Taiwan, and both require the perpetrators to hold actual power. First, selling out via executive power. When someone who wants to sell out Taiwan is elected president, they gain control of the executive branch and become the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. In a critical moment, they hold the power to decide whether to fight or not. If such a leader proactively signals to Beijing that they will not resist or even engineers a crisis to give the CCP the most advantageous conditions for an attack, or if, during a military action by the CCP, Taiwan has the capability to defend itself, but the president orders the military to stand down or deliberately delays critical combat decisions, causing our defense to collapse, that is the act of selling out Taiwan through executive power. Second, selling out via legislative power. When forces intending to sell out Taiwan hold a majority in the legislature, they can use their legislative authority to sabotage our self-defense mechanisms. This includes dismantling laws designed to prevent CCP infiltration, fortify government resilience, and counter cognitive warfare, or abolishing anti-infiltration and internal security tools. At the same time, they can use their budget appropriation power to slash funding for national defense, cybersecurity, and counter-infiltration efforts. This would leave Taiwan defenseless, unable to counterattack, and essentially a sitting duck in the face of a future attack. Only in these two scenarios do the actors possess the real power and conditions to truly sell out Taiwan.
So the act of selling out Taiwan isn't a consequence of these individuals exercising their freedom of speech. In fact, the essence of this betrayal lies precisely in their failure to do so openly and honestly. Do you see what I mean? If a politician were to run on an open platform declaring, "I want to unify Taiwan and China," or "I support a CCP takeover of Taiwan," if they put that in their official platform, on their campaign banners, and openly sought votes for that position, I would not call that selling out. Why? Because that would be a choice made by Taiwanese society under its free speech and democratic system. If a majority of people genuinely chose that candidate and that path, it would be the people's decision, not an act of betrayal.
Hong Kong is a living, breathing example of a society sold out by its own executive and legislative bodies. Hong Kong lost its democracy not just because of pressure from Beijing, but because key figures within Hong Kong's power structure actively cooperated, giving away freedoms piece by piece. The chief executive, handpicked by Beijing, formed an administrative team loyal to the CCP. They unanimously and enthusiastically implemented Beijing's national security law, cracking down on pro-democracy parties and arresting their political leaders. When the national security law was enacted in 2020, the chief executive aggressively pushed for its implementation. The Legislative Council swiftly passed it, empowering the police and judiciary to suppress protests, the media, and all dissent. The pro-Beijing majority in the legislature then rammed through the 2023 District Council's Amendment Ordinance, slashing the number of directly elected seats to less than 20%, with another 38% of members directly appointed by the chief executive. This completely sealed off the council from reflecting public will, eliminating any possibility of checks and balances on executive power. In just a few short years, Hong Kong transformed from a place with freedom of the press, speech, and an independent judiciary into a city under Beijing's direct control. Its people no longer have the right to express their opinions. And what many pro-democracy advocates in Taiwan now fear most and are fighting to prevent is seeing what happened in Hong Kong happen here, a scenario where Taiwan's democracy is jointly sold out by the very executive officials and legislators that its taxpayers pay to protect it. Advocating for unification can be a political stance protected by freedom of speech, but selling out Taiwan is an act of betrayal that uses power to destroy the people's right to choose and to dismantle the nation's defense systems. Understanding this distinction is crucial for telling the difference between a political position and a truly dangerous action. So what do you think of this analysis? Does it seem reasonable? Are there parts that feel inaccurate or even too absolute? I'd love to see your thoughts in the comments. Please share your perspective or even challenge mine. Let's keep the conversation going. Here at Shape of Fate, we try to use knowledge and wisdom from various fields to answer the real-life problems and dilemmas we all face. If you share our passion and concern for these issues, please subscribe or join our membership to stay updated with our work and become a part of our community. Until next time, be mindful and do our best.